Hello guys, and welcome to the fifth episode of the How to Make an RPG in Unity tutorial series. And in the last episode, we checked out making our basic skeleton AI, although it did have some problems, and making basic nav mesh or baking our nav mesh onto our scene. And in this episode today, we're going to be looking at finishing our questing system, as well as fixing some bugs we had with our skeleton from last time. So, I believe last time we left off with the skeleton not being able to rotate towards us, and that was actually because I found out I actually attached the script for our player control onto our skeleton by accident, which caused our skeleton to turn around whenever we press an arrow key. But now that that's fixed, you can see the skeleton does follow us, although he's slightly above the ground because we did not set him to be on the ground. So let's actually just move him down a bit more. Okay, he's pretty good now, I think, pretty solid. Now when we go and we enter the game, you can see he's walking pretty much normally. He can attack us, and yeah, so he's attacking us. We can't collide with him because he has a collider. Well, we can collide with him, but we can't like walk face through him because he has a collider. And if we run away, he continues following us instead of attacking. And once he gets close enough, he attacks us. Okay, brilliant. That's exactly what we needed. So there's a couple of things I would like to finish in this episode. So the first thing is that I would like to create a heads-up display and a damage system. And after that, I want to start decorating our scene a bit because I think in the third or fourth episode, I said that the next episode would be for decorating a scene. And we still haven't done that yet. So I want to create like a forest around the main village, along the path, and then like I want to create like a little clearing where like skeletons will spawn. And I believe that I want that clearing to be where our player will be able to find their first weapon. So after our first initial questing system, we're just gonna start right off with our inventory system and our weapon system. All right. Okay, so yeah, with that said, let's get started on our health system, heads up display, and our health system and our damage system. So let's see what we're gonna do. So first, we're going to create a health bar. So there's a couple of different unique ways you can create a health bar in a video game. I believe for The Legend of Zelda, the health bar is obviously um, hearts, not an actual bar. And for Terraria, you have also hearts, and for Minecraft, you have hearts. But for games like um, for games like I guess Fallout kind of has a bar, but it's not like a very smooth bar. I don't know if you've ever played Fallout before, but if you have, then you'll know what I mean. Um, I'm trying to think of other games that use health bars, unique health bars. I mean, eh, yeah, I'm presuming most of you know what health bars are. So we're just gonna go into our canvas and we're just gonna double right click on it and we're gonna press UI slider, and basically over here you can change the value to slide. And basically this will be our UI for our health bar. So a couple things we need to do to make this actually look like health bar. First, we're going to rename it to health bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete the handle slide area. And then we're just going to make this 2 by 2. Drag it to the bottom left. You can have it on the bottom right, doesn't really matter. I like mine on the bottom left. But it's ultimately it's your UI, your game. You can design this however you want. You don't have to copy me for everything. But I actually want to make the Y a bit thicker so that you can see the health bar more clearly. And then we're just gonna change the colors a bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the slider color default to red. Or actually, you know what? We're not even gonna need this because this is only for interactions. So we can just default that. Take off interactable so we can't interact with the health bar. Change the background color to be gray, and then change the fill area color to be red because most health bars are red. You can obviously make this whatever color you want. But now if we go back into Unity and we press play, you can see here we have a little bar on the bottom of our screen, and we can slide this up and down, and you can see it doesn't really fill all the way. So we're actually going to have to edit this a bit. So we can go to the fill area. We just turn the fill area up a bit. And now when we press play, uh, and we edit the help bar value in the inspector, you can see it actually goes all the way now. It goes a bit farther than all the way. So let's actually just make it a bit smaller. Make the fill area a bit smaller. So right here around. Okay, cool. Now we can press play. Health bar up. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Seems pretty fun. Our skeleton enemies following us. Okay. Okay. So once we have that, what we're gonna do is I want to add a little display text to tell our player how much health they have out of 100 or whatever. So let's just say 10 out of 100. Auto size this, and let's scale this down a lot. Right here. Okay. I want to make the minimum like 1 and then the max. Okay, yeah. So we can scale this down even more. Drag it down a bit so it matches, so it evens out. Okay, so now when we press play, uh, you can see here that we have a little bit of text over our health bar that will display and tell us how much health we actually have. So now let's go back into Unity and we can go and we can create a new script. So we're gonna right click and actually, we can actually just use player data actually. Um, and yeah, so we can just use player data and we're gonna create a new section in our inspector by pressing header or typing header um, in uh, actual player data because these, well, technically they're all player data, but I um, player stats. Let's call this player stats. And basically what this will store is like, the damage your player does, or health, their speed, or whatnot, whatever. Maybe like, I don't know if you know the Fallout system, the special system, like maybe we can implement like a stat system like special from Fallout. But yeah, we'll see. And basically what we're gonna want to do is we're just gonna say public float, and this is going to store our max health variable. So this is going to store how much health our player can have maximum at a time. And then we're just going to say public float current health. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then basically let's just create a new header, and this is going to be called UI components. And basically for our first UI component, we're also going to have to import the say using Unity Engine UI. So basically, we're just importing the UI library, and we're just gonna say public health slider. So this is referencing our health slider that we made in our canvas. So when we just say public void start, we can set health slider dot max value is going to be our max health. It makes sense, right? I'm assuming this line of code makes sense to you guys. So basically, we're just setting the max health or max value of our health slider to be max health, the max health that we set our player to. Now, the max health can actually change if like maybe the player gets unique perks or like gets armor. Maybe the max health can change. So that's why we don't want to make it a set variable. And then we're just gonna set for now. We're gonna set uh, health dot actually yeah, so we're just going to set cur health to be max health on the very start, and then on void late update, we're just going to set cur slider, or actually we don't actually need to do this in update, so we can just make like a special function, so like void public void take damage, and let's say public void heal. And then we can take in how much damage we want to heal or take. So we can have like float damage, and over here float heal health. And then basically what we're gonna do is we're also gonna set health slider dot cur value to be cur health. And then over here when we take damage, we're just gonna subtract max value, or sorry, max or sorry, cur health minus equals damage And then we're just going to set our health slider dot value to be equal to cur health. All right, pretty simple. And then when we heal, we just do this, the same thing, except this time we have plus equal. Now, when it comes to healing, we don't want to heal over our max health, so we're going to say if cur health is greater than max health, then we're just going to set cur health to be equal to max health. Okay, cool. So now when we go into our NPC1, we're going to, or sorry, not NPC1, because our NPC cannot attack us. We're going to, first, we're going to make a private reference to our player data. So private player data, and then we can say in void start, we can say data is equal to find object of type player data. I think I explained in a video, another video, what player find object type does, but basically it just finds a reference for like whatever you're passing, like player data in the scene. Really handy for variables you don't need a hard code or like hard set in the inspector. It just makes your life a lot simpler. Um, and basically, when we attack, um, we're actually gonna just remove this completely. And you'll see why. So we're gonna create a coroutine. Now, if you don't know what a coroutine is, you basically call it by saying enumerator, and you give the it acts like a normal function. You just give the function a name like attack, and then you can see there's an error here. So when you call a coroutine, you actually have to say start coroutine attack. But yeah, okay, so if the distance is less than 4, we're just going to attack. And we're going to create a bool. So we're going to say private bool is attacking is going to be default to false. So if our enemy is not actually attacking, then we're going to run this function. Now you can see it has an error because we actually need to pass in yield return new, wait 4 seconds, uh, 3, because yeah, let's just set that to be our attack cooldown. So basically, we're just going to also have to have an if statement. So we're going to say if not is attacking, we're going to set is attacking to be true, so that we don't run this function multiple times. So it's going to be equal to true, and then we're just going to wait for 3 seconds before we deal damage to the player. So if the player moves out of the way before the 3 seconds is up, the player doesn't actually take damage. Now we can actually offset this if you don't want it. If you want the player to just take outright damage, you can just do all the damage function here. But I'm going to make it after we wait 3 seconds. So after an animation plays, or 3 seconds, it might be 2, I forgot what it was, but we're just going to use 3. So after 3 seconds, what we're going to do is we're just going to data.take damage, and we're going to just say, we're going to actually create 2 new variables, and we're just going to say public int or float min damage and public float max damage. And basically these will store our two our possible max damage and min damage values. And I like not having like a set amount of damage because I like randomness in games. So basically what we're gonna do is we're just gonna say random dot range, and basically we just pass in 2 values here, so in our case min damage and max damage. And basically what this does is that it finds a random number between our 2 given variables, which are min damage and max damage. So if min damage and max damage is 0 and 3, then our returned number that will be passed in take damage will be anywhere from 0 to 3, or whatever numbers I said. But it won't, because they're floats, they can be decimals too, which is really cool. Okay, so anyways, so we're just gonna make the character take damage, and we're just gonna set attacking it to false. And basically over here, once we are out of the range, we're just gonna say is attacking is equal to false. Okay, cool. So now when we go back into Unity, it should be pretty simple. I'm just gonna make sure we have nothing we need to drag. Okay, so min damage is gonna be 1, and max damage will be 10. Let's go to our player. Max health will be 200 or 100. Slider is right here. Okay, so now we press play. Alright, you can see our spars is full upon spawn. Okay, I don't know why our guy is not attacking. Okay, well, no, he is attacking. It's just the animation's not playing. Oh, silly me. Okay, we forgot to play the animation. My bad. Okay, my bad. Okay, I deleted the animation and forgot to put it back in. Okay. While we're in the script, we can also make the text do something. So we're just gonna say public text mesh pro. So we're gonna have to import the TMP pro library. Oops. Okay, and we're just gonna say text mesh pro mesh pro UGUI TM health text. And basically this will just display how much health we have. So we're just gonna say um, health text health text dot text is going to be equal to 100 or like max health dot to string, and we're just going to format it to be F0 so there's no decimals. um and because like sometimes I don't know, when we get perks we might have decimals, so we're just going to round it to the nearest non-decimal number. um and or not round it, we'll just eliminate the rest of the numbers behind the decimal, and then we're just going to say plus uh, a backslash, and then we're just going to add our current health. And we're also just going to set this to F0, which will basically eliminate the decimals. So now we can also copy this to heal, current health, dot two string, sorry, my bad. There we go. Okay, so now when we go back into Unity, we can press play, and oh, sorry, we forgot to set the text. There we go. Here's the text. Now we can press play. Okay, so okay, why is it still not working? Oh, we do not set it at the very start. My bad. Okay, so we have to set it also at the very start. So just copy and paste it into void start. Um, okay, so now you can see it displays 100 out of 100. Our skeleton will attack. Okay, it's not very consistent with our enemy AI attack, so we're just gonna default this to one, like let's say 1.4, because I think that's around how long the animation plays for. I don't know. That is just a guess. um, let me walk up to our enemy. Okay, 1.4. Oh wait, at the end of the swing of the sword, we take damage. Okay, looks pretty consistent. Um, you can see here our skeleton AI is looking up a bit when he attacks us, and that's because we have transform.lookAt set to us. Oh, okay, my bad. We actually have this flipped as well. It shouldn't be cur health first, it should be max health first, or second. Sorry, my bad. So it should be cur health first and max health second. Okay, let's just copy paste this. What am I doing? Uh, whoops. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, everything's working now. So now when we go back into Unity, we can see here that we have our skeleton AI attacking us. I might actually just turn this down to 1.2 because it still feels kind of inconsistent with our enemy swinging their weapon at us. So now when we go back into Unity and we press play, we have our health bar, our enemy walking up towards us, attack. Okay, at the end of the swing. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we walk away, and he gets closer. Okay. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, okay, so this is definitely working. So a couple bugs I see right now are kind of our enemy kind of rotates upwards to face our technically center of mass, which is where our transform is based off of, or not our center of mass, our center. So we're just gonna have to lock our Z when we make our enemy look at us somehow. And I believe. I think we can actually what we can do is we can try to attach a rigid body. Um, I don't know how that would work though, but yeah. So a couple things we need to do. We need to fix the transform issue, which I think I'll go over in the next episode because this episode is getting a bit long. Because I do want to finish off with a death sequence. So what happens when you die? Um, and yeah. So we're just gonna work on a death sequence for now. Um, a bit very basic one. So we're just gonna restart the scene, and then we're just gonna want to decorate our scene with some trees and plants for a little bit. So now we can go back into Unity and go into player data, and we can say if after take damage. So we can say if her health is less than or equal to 0. So basically our player dies. Then we're just going to restart the scene. So we're just going to import something, a library called using Unity Engine dot scene management. And basically what this will do is this will allow us to reference the scene. So once we have that down, we're just going to say very simply in our code application.load_level, and then we're just going to reference our current scene level name. So we're going to go into our build settings and we're going to add the open scene, and you can see it's called sample scenes. We're just going to change that to be uh, starting village. Reload the scene. Oh yeah, so funny story. I actually when I reloaded a scene, I forgot to save, so everything got wiped for me, or the past like everything we did this episode, which is the health bar. So if you see some stuff that's different, like it's because I had to remake it. So you can see the text is a bit bigger, but that's because I had to remake it. But anyways, now that we have a name for a scene, we're just gonna go back into Unity, add a semicolon, and we're just gonna pass in our scene name. So okay, so now we're back in Unity. We're gonna add the quotation marks, and we're just gonna pass in our scene name, which happens to be, what is our scene name? Starting village. So we just put that in, and then now we go back into, or sorry, load level. There we go. I spelled load level wrong. Okay. Now we can go back into Unity, and so if our health ever hits 0 or less than 0, um, then our scene will restart and we'll die. Okay. So here there was a bug. I forgot to remove it. So here's the bug that I was talking about. I actually added the player controller script stupidly to our skeleton enemy, which caused it to do a lot of weird things. But now it's better now. Go back into Unity. It's gonna attack us. We're gonna lose a lot of health. We can't move for. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're losing some health. Let's just speed it up a bit and make our health like 2. Oh yeah, we died. And now the scene restarts. Okay, so that's good and all. And the final thing we're going to do for this episode is we're just going to add a little bit of terrain upgrades. So we're going to go into our terrain and we're going to go into our trees and we're just going to add a tree. I believe there are some tree objects in our Mega Fantasy Props pack, or there should be at least. If there are none, okay, oh, there are. There's bark. I see the bark. That would indicate trees, I think. So I'm just gonna find that real quick. Or that might actually just be the objects in the scene. Let's find a tree. Let's search for it. Tree? No, there's no trees. Oh wait, what is this? Are these trees? Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, so the standard assets, I think, actually comes with trees, which is really cool. Well, they come with an environment pack, so I'm not sure if there are trees here. No. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so trees. Great. Okay, so we're just gonna press edit trees, add trees, and we're gonna drag the conifer in. Um, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Okay, so now we press and uh, we can see we have just spawned in a bunch of trees by pressing with this big blue circle. Now the trees are obviously a bit big, so we can edit the tree size by switching the tree height, and we can, you know, plant the trees better now. Um, we can also turn down the tree density so there's less trees like this, like so, and now the trees look much more spread out and it looks a bit nicer. We can also just remove trees by holding shift and then clicking on the trees we want to remove. I'm going to turn down the brush size and I'm going to add some more trees here and there. But yeah, you get the gist. So we're, oh, whoops, we don't need trees that far out yet. But yeah, so yeah, you get the gist. So basically, you can edit, play around with the stuff here. You get random, you take off random, and all the trees will be the same height. But yeah, um, this is pretty much how you make trees. And you can now see that our scene looks much better. I don't suggest you spamming trees though, because that'll turn down your. If you don't have a really good laptop, your laptop won't actually be able to handle the sheer amount of trees. And now I'm just gonna add a little bit of grass. I don't like adding a lot of grass, because of the fact that it just makes your scene lag a lot. It's stuff like this is usually what you do at the very end, but like I want to have like a basic um a basic look at our scene before we do anything else. So you can see there aren't actually that many grass assets. There is this, which is for alpha textures. But we can basically just press add grass texture. Just drag this in, add, and then we can literally just plant some grass. How cool is that? We're gonna again turn down the opacity so we don't spawn as much grass because grass makes your scene lag. Turn on the strength. We gotta turn way down. Okay, now you can't see anything. Okay, yeah, okay, cool. This looks a bit better. I'm gonna turn out these. Alright, I'm just gonna add little tufts of grass here and there. Whoops, that is way too much. So our scene actually looks decent. I'm not gonna add too much because I don't want my scene to like. You can if you want. If you have a really powerful PC, by all means go ahead. But my PC is not the best, so I'm not gonna render too much grass here. But now when we go back into our scene, you can see it looks beautiful. We got trees. There's some on the path. We're gonna actually just remove those, because there shouldn't be grass on the path. Uh, so hold shift and then just drag along where you want to remove the grass. And then we come over here and I want to actually just paint a little dirt road for our player to walk along to fight the skeleton and ultimately win the day by getting his first weapon. So over here, I guess we'll make a little opening. There's going to be a wall here that I was thinking of. So we're going to make a wall that will enclose this little village. And then, yeah, so let's just remove the grass here. I'm just going to hold shift and then basically like a eraser tool. Uh, okay. And then basically, we're just going to paint just a little circle of dirt. You don't have to have this clearing if you don't want to. I'm just gonna make this be where my enemies are gonna spawn because, uh, yeah, because yeah. But yeah, I just paint a little like dirt path or like dirt clearing, and I'm just gonna remove the grass and the dirt. I remember when I first started game development, I got so excited at the grass that I like crashed my game and I didn't save because I had so much grass. Um, But yeah, just paint the grass around. And then I suggest you put a bit more trees around the clearing, so to discourage the player from moving out of the clearing. Oops, that is a line of a lot of trees. Okay. Oh, why is the random trees not working? Okay, there we go. Now the height will be random. Okay, cool. Just gonna plant a little bit of tall trees. Okay, cool. So now we press play. We can go into our scene and you can see that there is a tiny clearing over here that is just waiting for us after we accept the quest where our skeleton AI friend will be located. So now you can see here we can actually pass through the trees, which is what we do not want. Or we can't actually, tree colliders are enabled. Okay, cool, never mind. I think on the this might be just a new Unity fix, but on the older Unity versions, I haven't made trees in so long. But on the older Unity versions, trees used to like not spawn in with colliders or something like that, and then like I'd have to like actually add colliders manually, which is really annoying. But you can see here on navigation, technically we didn't bake again. So like all our AI wouldn't be able to walk through trees, even though would be able to walk through trees, even though he shouldn't be. So we're just gonna press bake again, so our AI will be better. So so you can see here, there are little occlusions of nav mesh around the trees, so he won't walk towards the trees. So now we can do some like fun little like AI testing, and we can see how well he performs under these circumstances where there are trees. You can see he walks around them perfectly. Yep. Well, not perfectly, but like he walks around them pretty fine. And yeah, so yeah, we're starting to get a little of an RPG feel here. I feel like his lighting, like you can see, there's no shadow. Like he's just light even in the darkest places. I don't know why that is. But yeah, maybe he's just yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So we have a basics, or we fixed our scene up. We made a death sequence. We fixed our nav mesh. We fixed our enemy. So yeah, this episode was a pretty good episode. In the next one, we're gonna finish our questing, um, give finish the objectives, or like start the objective, start the reward currency system, and yeah, we'll see what else we're gonna do. So thank you for watching this video. We're almost at 10,000 views. And yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for getting me here to almost 10,000 views. But yeah, so remember to keep watching my videos and subscribe. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.